as you see me admire this glorious picture of my saintly brother and I know you might have a question to yourself. Number one, is Dan in the Dago? Well, let me tell you something. He is, but wait. Before I even do this, something's missing. Something does not feel right. What could be missing? Oh, yeah, let me put on the gauntlet. Oh, yeah. Now I feel like Thanos. And let me tell you something. Gilberto! Like Thanos, I am inevitable. And you may also be wondering why I'm wearing the San Diego legend Eric Weddle's jersey. Well, let me tell you why. Your Compas have a very special guest for you today, and that guest is Eric Weddle. I am so hyped to listen to this conversation. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this, for your Compas to get him, and I'm so hyped. Eric Weddle is fresh off his Super Bowl victory, and he will be here today on the show for Compas on the Beat, and he'll reunite with my saintly brother, Fernando. They go way back from Eric Weddle's Charger days. I wish Eric Weddle won it all with my team, honestly. I was always rooting for that. But, I mean, at least he got to do it with the Rams. I'm happy about that. Weddle will discuss his wild experience of being retired, then joining the Rams in the playoffs for the Super Bowl run, and he'll get into, I know what might be on your mind because of everything that you heard post Super Bowl, but let me tell you something. He'll also get into why the Chargers motivated him after a messy breakup. Will they ever mend fesses? I have no idea, but let's stay tuned because he might give it to us. But first, here's my weekly reminder to go subscribe to Compas on the Beat on YouTube and on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You never know who's going to stop by and join the Compas. Whoo! And once more, that's the bottom line, because Dan and Dago said so. And I know everyone wants to hear what Weddle has to say, but first, Fernando and Gilberto! We'll get into the NFL draft and talk some boxing and MMA. Some very good fights over the weekend. I saw some good fights. Hey, shout out to Rudy. Okay, now it's time for the best damn podcast in the universe, all the way from South Bend, Indiana. Play the music, Nando! Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I am Fernando Ramirez, Notre Dame beat reporter for the South Bend Tribune. With me, as always, is my co-host, my tag team partner, Chargers beat reporter Gilbert Manzano for the OC Register LA Daily News. What's up, bro?
What's up, Fernando? You know, we're in like that weird portion of the NFL calendar where like you're waiting for the draft.
Oh, you didn't even give me credit. No, I nailed that one.
Oh.
No laughing, no nothing.
I'm already gone into the show. That's how natural you did it. Actually, can you do it again so I can hear it one more time?
All right, I got you. Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I am Fernando Ramirez. Oh, you on that one. Well, I hate you.
You hit the record button, right? So I can watch it later. But to your credit, it came off natural. I'm like, oh, here we go. We're starting off, to the races, and I'm just excited for the show because I was gonna say it is kind of the boring portion of the calendar, like you're waiting for the draft. But we got a big guest on, thanks to you, Fernando. Your boy E-Dub, Eric Weddle, he's gonna be on the show.
I know. I'm very excited about that, and that's the thing is that right now, like you said, it's the boring part of the NFL season. Which I mean, sometimes it feels like there is no boring parts. By the way, in college football, there is no boring part right now, so I'm in it right now. But yeah, no, Eric and I had been talking for a while, and I'd asked him, I'm like, hey, when can you jump on? And he's like, dude, I got time. I'm like, really? He's like, for you, I got time, bro. Let's do it. So I was like, all right, cool. So that'll be 3 compas on the show today. Well, 4 because Dan and Dago, obviously, with his intros and everything. But for that interview portion, it'll be 3 compas on it. So it was pretty fun to talk to Eric about everything that happened. I mean, dude, he went from being 2 years in isolation, kind of like Obi-Wan in Star Wars. Isolation. Nobody had heard from him to breaking news.
Eric Weddle's coming out of retirement. Like I told him, when I saw that tweet, I had to triple take and make sure it was Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport, because I couldn't believe that Eric Weddle was coming back out of retirement.
Yeah, it was a pretty fascinating story that came out of nowhere as well. So, I'm curious to see, how it went down to doing that, being a Super Bowl champion, to some Chargers talk in there too, Fernando as well. But it was cool, and I like how he goes by E-Dub, because the other E-Dub that I know is Eric Williams. So it's kind of a funny story that they're both together, two E-Dubs.
I know, exactly. But yeah, Eric, you know what? Eric has a different way of looking at life, and that's what I like. That's what I like about what we're doing, bringing people on and talking not just about football, but talking about life as well. And Eric just has a different way of looking at life, and that's why. And once you hear him speak and you kind of hear what he has to say, you can kind of tell why we get along so well. Eric and I have gotten along ever since I was a kid, man. I remember the way we met was, obviously I was interning, doing stuff, and I was really, I know right now you guys will be like, you shy. I was very shy when I first started getting into the locker room and everything. And I mean, first person I met, Eric Williams. Eric really, like, I had gotten in there when Eric had just been hired from Seattle. So Eric and I that's why we're so close. And that's why I see him as one of my, like a big brother to me, just because Eric's always been there. But then Eric Weddle was the first player I ever started chatting with. And I remember a player blew me off, and Eric's like, dude, come here, I'll talk to you. And I was like, oh my God, it's Eric Weddle. Like, holy crap. So Eric and I just developed a great relationship. Sometimes I would sit there and we would just talk about sport, talk about the Lakers, talk about what's going on with, like, obviously Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. I remember the first time he met Kobe, he's like, dude, he's like, guess who I met? And I was like, who? He's like, Kobe. I'm like, shut up. Shows me a picture. I was like, dude, that is so awesome. I'm like, how was that? He's like, dude, you don't even know. So it was it was awesome to still be in touch with Eric after all these years, and him being able to jump on with us was totally awesome. But yeah, no, it's definitely both Erics are awesome. Both Erics I consider as good friends. So definitely excited to have him, like I said, on the show.
Yeah, no, it's very cool that you guys have that connection from the locker room days. That's something that we've missed the last couple of years because of COVID era. Like sometimes, like, yeah, you're there to be a reporter and ask questions about football, but sometimes you're just hanging around, talking to the players and get to know them. Like, what are their interests off the field? What are they like? And it seemed like you and Eric had a good connection there. It's also cool too when athletes notice that maybe somebody's new in the locker room, or they kind of look out of place and they want to help out just by saying, "Hey, hello." And it reminded me, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but there was a player on the Angels who could tell that I was new. And he came up to me and he said, "Hey, I'll give him a shout out, Tyler Wade. Hey, Gilbert, nice to meet you." I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks for introducing yourself." And that makes our job much easier when you have that connection of players in the locker room willing to talk. And just kind of like, it's also hard too, because I know there's the trust factor. You need to, like, who's this guy? They're going to, like, do something that I don't like, or blah, blah, blah. But it looks like Eric, he gives people a chance from the start and to give a good first impression. And a little off topic, Fernando, but you mentioned a Star Wars reference. I just wanted to say I've been watching Boba Fett, and I really like it so far. Maybe you can mention it in uno más.
I actually have not watched Boba Fett.
Never mind.
No, I'm one of those people. The Mandalorian to me didn't do anything. Like, I thought the Mandalorian.
Star Wars fan?
We're Disneying it up too much.
Oh, okay.
And I'm kind of not a fan of that. I don't know. I kind of, the last 3 Star Wars movies were a kick in the wrong section.
I do remember that.
And then these, I don't know. I just think it's too much. I wish we could take a little bit of a break, but obviously they're striking while the iron's hot. Everybody loves Star Wars. Everybody loves superhero. All of a sudden, the crap that people used to call me a nerd for, all of a sudden everybody now loves it. So
I was one of those people, Fernando. I call people nerds, and now
I know exactly, and I love that stuff. But I used to love that stuff growing up, and I was always a dork. I always had comic books, or I had comic strips, or I had anything I could get my hands on that had Batman or Superman or Captain America. That's why, like, and it's funny, I just watched the last Avengers movie and Endgame. And the fact that Captain America goes back and has a beautiful life and grows old with his wife, I was like, get the hell out of here. That's not Captain America. Captain America wouldn't have seen his best friend Tony Stark die and then say, well, Tony died, I should go back and have a nice life myself. No, that was disgusting. I didn't like that part.
Okay,
I was
Fernando.
mad in the
I'm
theater.
guessing you saw DK Metcalf's tweet saying he watched the game, the whatever Endgame movie again. He started crying. Is that why you started watching it too?
Did he really?
He just tweeted like yesterday, and I saw it. And Fernando, I really don't care for Marvel movies, so you're getting me distracted. You're like, it's like soccer all over again, trying to make me talk instead of Star Wars, talk Marvel, and it's not gonna work here. I don't like.
No. If he cried during that movie, I mean, I get like the beautiful part is like when Spider-Man comes up and he's like, Mr. Stark, we won, Mr. Stark, and he's starting to die, and then obviously Pepper comes up and hugs him and everything, but obviously that's a sad part, but the whole Captain America thing just left a terrible taste in my mouth. I hated it. I thought it was disgusting. And that part, Captain America is supposed to stay stuck in the multiverse, and then found a couple of years later when the Avengers really need him, the future Avengers. But I won't get stuck in that. You know what? Please. Speaking of striking while the iron's hot, I mean, Gilbert, it's a pretty fun part right now because it's draft season. I mean, I'm really interested right now. Is literally, you're a Vegas guy, like Chris Angel, Mind Freak, and all these guys. A lot of smoke and mirrors right now is the smoke and mirrors part. Like teams are visiting, teams are visiting with players. Some journalists grab that stuff from other journalists and make articles out of it, and just stuff like that. And people are visiting teams. I don't know. I mean, right now it's just kind of hey, let's meet with them. Let's see what they have to say. All that stuff. That hadn't happened. Did that happen last year? No, huh?
No,
not last year or the year before.
Because of COVID stuff.
Okay, but the last 2 years it hasn't happened. Because I was trying to remember, has there been that much madness? But no, it was all Zoom calls last year. Oh God, and that's when they were letting fans into the Zoom calls as well. That was terrible. But yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely a fun season just because the draft is coming. Man, I didn't know. I just thought about this right now. Like the draft is 2 weeks away. I think this Thursday.
Yeah, 2 weeks from Thursday.
Jeez, it's coming by quick.
But I'm glad you brought that up because I'm like in this middle part where like I don't care about the visits because every team is doing kind of like let me look under every rock and let me talk to players. You never know how the draft's gonna break. But I know
there's one that we loved. We were excited about.
Who?
The punt god, Matt Araiza going to the Chargers and meeting with the Chargers.
But that's the one too. I'm like, they're just kind of doing the due diligence and getting to know him because maybe he's available in the 6th round, 5th round. You say, go ahead, let's draft them.
I'm telling you, when I asked him that question, he literally made me laugh. I'm like, hey, Justin Herbert and the Chargers really don't go for it all. They go for it a lot on 4th down. He's like, hey, I'm willing to do it as long as we're winning. I'm willing to stand on the sideline, score more points. I'll be the cheerleader. I'll be fist bumping. I'll get excited with my guys. And I started laughing. I'm like, this kid gets it.
I didn't imagine starting this draft segment with the punters, but I'll get into it because yeah, I saw the workout. I kind of moved on from Matt Araiza when they signed the punter 2 weeks ago, J.K. Scott.
Smoke screens.
And I was like, okay, it makes sense because they have Justin Herbert. And they're gonna score a lot. They're aggressive with Brandon Staley. You don't have a day 2 draft pick, so you need more draft picks for other positions. I'm like, okay, I'm over the whole punt god thing, but then it's like, this special teams has stunk, as you know, Fernando, for the last 10 years. Why not go get the best punter in the world and help you out really quickly instead of just taking a chance on another guy? Because they've been taking chance on guys since the last Pro Bowler who was a punter there.
Mike Cyphers.
There you go. I was blanking on the name. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like, you know what? This is a year. Forget it. Let's focus on special teams. And I've heard that they want to really focus on the kicking game and make sure they've got it right. And they, they've done that with the long snapper, the Pro Bowler from the Falcons, Brian with the punt returner from the Commanders. I'm blanking on the name, but I don't know. I'm on the fence. Maybe if he's available in the 5th round, maybe you go for it. No more 4th round. But Fernando, going back to the visits, yeah, like it's kind of like, yeah, you see a workout or a visit, then you start writing about, oh, this team really likes this guy. I'm like, they're just talking to people right now. But I also see the other side too, because like the whole Brandon Staley being there in person for Derek Stingley Jr.
Yeah.
LSU Pro Day. I'm like, oh, there's something here. Maybe he's really involved. And you see Derek Ansley and Ronaldo Hill. Like, that's a big group there. Like, that stuff to me is like, okay, if they do draft them, you kind of go back to it and then you ask them, how was that Pro Day? So there's stuff there you kind of pay attention to, but I don't go crazy like some people do, you know?
No, and I get it, but we have some breaking news. Manchester United has just hired Ten Hag as their new manager for no?
Did you just make up that name?
No.
Are you
He's the
actually
Ajax.
serious?
Yeah. I just got an alert right now. Man, you
No,
agrees to Ten Hag deal. He's the coach of Ajax right now, but it doesn't seem like you're into that.
I'm not. But congrats to Ten Hag, whatever his name is, for
No, but this is what I was interested in because, like you said, Brandon has not gone to many, if at all, any, and he went to the LSU one. That makes you think that he really likes Derek Stingley, or it could all be smoke screens, and he could be. But the fact that he worked them out and he went through a full workout, that means that he might like him. I'm just going to tell you this now, and I don't give a crap who says what. I've been saying since last season that that Brandon Staley was not sold on Michael Davis. Michael Davis is not a one, and when Brandon was saying that, I was kind of like, and you remember, Gilbert, I would push back a little bit. Obviously you're the kind you have a kind heart because you're like, dude, give him a chance. Let's see. I'm like, I just don't see it. Like, I see the same mistakes I saw in 2017 when Gus Bradley was yelling at him during mini camp and training camp. I see the same mistakes. So obviously I still think the Chargers want another cornerback. To me, it's going to be Asante Samuel Jr. and JC Jackson as 1 and 2, and then when they have when they have to get into their nickel or whatever, Michael Davis will slide in and be the second corner, while Asante Samuel Jr. probably comes into the slot. But I'm sure the Chargers are probably trying to look for another cornerback. They're going to try and look for something else. But I definitely think that Derek Stingley is one of those guys that could fall to them. There, like I told you, there's a lot of stuff right now. Like, I mean, and I'm just using a little bit from what I'm learning over here is that like Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, right now he's projected to be, like, some people have him going to the Detroit Lions, as high as the Detroit Lions at number 2. Other people have him going falling to the Washington Commanders at like 13 or 14. That kind of reminded me of Derwin James. Remember you hadn't arrived yet. In 2018, Derwin was projected to be a top 5 pick, and he ends up dropping all the way down to the Chargers at 17. So that's another interesting name to take an eye on, because if he fell to the Chargers, I feel like the Chargers would take him. They'd put him opposite Derwin, and there you'd have probably the best safety tandem in the NFL, because Kyle Hamilton has the instincts that Derwin does. He's just not as physical as Derwin is, but he's a sure tackler. He does everything right. So that would be interesting. But definitely right now there's a lot of different things going on where you're hearing, oh, well, this team might not like this, or, oh, hey, this team's really interested in getting a receiver, a speedy receiver, stuff like that. Like, right now is just a weird time because for the next 2 weeks, all you're going to hear is just random stuff, and it's going to be interesting to see kind of what falls and what doesn't.
Yeah, I'll give you credit. You were from off the bat saying, "Hey, I don't need to see more of Michael Davis. I know who he is. He's a rotation guy. He's a nice piece, but he's not a top corner. You were saying he didn't need to get paid like that. You were saying, take your walking papers, go somewhere else. I'm like, hey, it's not a bad contract, and I see the upside. He's athletic, he's fast, and you're right. There's a lot of ups and downs, and I was kind of like, hey, like, I'm kind of surprised at how much love he was getting last year as a free agent. Like, people are watching the tape and people are starting to notice Michael Davis, and I think it was the traits. It's like right now with Travon Walker, the edge rusher from Georgia. All I hear about is upside and his traits, but people are like, well, he hasn't really done much in college, or the production wasn't there. But people love the upside and take a chance. And I started seeing, well, Brandon Staley is good with players who need a little push to reach their potential. So I'm like, okay, let's see how it goes. I don't know how I feel about number 1 cornerback for Michael Davis. They gave it a try, and it didn't work. And I'm not even sure. I got to the point where I'm not even sure he's a number 2 corner outside. I think he's a good rotation guy. You need a lot of corners, but and that's obvious from the start. When I asked Michael Davis at the Michael Davis, I asked Brandon Staley at the combine, is Michael Davis still a number one corner in your eyes? And the answer just completely changed. He's like, we throw those words loosely. I'm like, you threw it last year. So Michael Davis is not a number one cornerback. Yes, we know that. Brandon Staley gave him a shot. It didn't work. And I'll say this, because it's all a guessing game, but I really feel that the two big priorities for the Chargers in the draft, if the top players that they want are there, it's going to be either an offensive lineman or a defensive back or cornerback to kind of be safe, or Kyle Hamilton. It could be one of those guys. But Brandon Staley is always looking for DBs and corners, and they have the biggest need on the right side of the offensive line. So it's going to be offensive line for me. Defensive back, I don't know which one's higher, because Brandon Staley is a head coach and he runs the defense. So maybe he's really pushing for it. If a guy like Stingley is available, Ahmad Sauce, Gardner is out there.
Yeah,
you go for it. But you see Charles Cross or Penning, I keep forgetting his name, Trevor Penning for Northern Iowa. Like, those four guys, I think, are really at the top of the list. But then if they're all gone, then you start thinking about what you.
If Ahmad Sauce drops around 13, would you jump up and grab him?
That's the thing too, but like the Chargers lost their second round draft pick with Khalil Mack.
You lose your third with this one.
Ammo. But say they really want those four guys that I just mentioned, or even a Trent McDuffie too, or 5. And all these guys that I mentioned, they keep going in mock drafts top 15, so they might not be available at 17. So you're probably right, Fernando. Like, if they see one of the guys they really like, do they go up? Or do they just say, hey, they just stay at 17, let's see what happens? Because there might be a Jameson Williams. That's not a bad pick either. There might be a Chris Olave. There might be a Garrett Wilson. Or,
by the way,
I was going to say, if all those guys are gone, then I think for me, the best thing is to trade down.
Everybody always says trade down. Did you hear about Jameson Williams or no? That supposedly he's going to be ready for training camp. Like a couple of weeks ago, they were saying he wouldn't be ready until probably about October, beginning of October. Now they're saying he's going to be ready for training camp.
That'd be crazy, man. He got hurt. He got hurt in the national title game in January. So that's a quick turnaround.
But I mean, I think that, remember when Adrian Peterson came back, like he got hurt in like December or January and was already ready to go like week 1. And that's the year where he went for like 18.
He was the MVP the following year. So
exactly.
That's a freak right there. I don't know about Jameson Williams. But if you're a rookie, you don't want to rush it either. But
no,
and I think that's, I keep thinking about the wide receivers, man. I think that might be the guy right there, because
Jameson.
Yeah, and it's funny because you see the waves of the draft, like, these quarterbacks stink, no one wants them. Then I was like, they might be 3 in the top 10. Like, it just changes. And then wide receiver, like, he was the best wide receiver in the draft before he got hurt. Stay away from the guy who got hurt. And then now we're getting closer. Might go top 10. Like it's like, make up your mind.
If he fell and went, if they went Jameson Williams and he fell to them, everybody's already gone or whatever, man, this offense is going to be something else. Because and people are like, oh, well, what about Josh Palmer? And I'm like, no, Josh Palmer is a good piece for them. But the thing is, they don't have speed. They don't have it at running back. They don't have it at receiver. They don't have it anywhere. You need at least one speedy guy. And the thing is that everybody talks about Jalen Guyton, and I get it, but Jameson Williams is a complete receiver where there's a possibility that all 3 of your receivers could have 1,000 yards after the season's over. And that kid could easily get like, 3 or 4, he could probably have 3 or 4 70-yard bombs just because that's how fast he is. But that's the crazy part about the Chargers being being at the 17th spot. Like, they're in the middle. They could literally do anything. They could trade down, trade up. Tom's never traded down from the first. So that one, to me, I don't see them. I think this is a different Tom Telesco. This is a different Chargers team. I think they're being very aggressive. I wouldn't doubt if they didn't jump up and grab something or either stay with it. I don't think the whole trading down, like, I get it, but I think they're so close that they're a couple of players away from being where they really want to be. And obviously special teams, they need to change on special teams. They're trying to, they've done everything. All they're missing now is just a punter. They've got the long snapper. They've gotten the kicker. They've gotten a returner now. And by the way, I don't know if you saw the kid's highlights, the Carter, DeAndre Carter.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty good in the receiving game.
Yeah.
He might actually be a weapon that they may be able to use in the receiving game. But he's interesting to see also. He may help in the receiving game with his speed, but I'm definitely interested to see kind of what route they decide to go. But I'm with you to a certain extent. I think it's 3 positions: receiver, right tackle, and cornerback. Just because I do think that they do want to add speed, and that's the thing, and that's what I asked. That was my last question to Brandon Staley. I hope he remembers that question forever. But I asked him before at the combine, like, do you feel like you need to add speed? And he's like, yeah, Fernando, but not just on defense, on offense as well. Like, we need speed all over the field. Our offense with our quarterback with this, we could really use if we had more speed, we could definitely do more with it. And so that'd be interesting to see. But I'm just telling you, like, if I know it'd be adding another first round receiver to this, but if they could add a kid like him or Olave or somebody who's really fast like that, this offense definitely changes. But I understand the need to get that right tackle. If you get that right tackle, you've solidified your offensive line basically for the next 5 years, because on one edge you would have your right tackle, on the other one you'd have your left tackle. Both of them on one of them, they're both on rookie contracts, and you've basically solidified that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, I think the top 2 are for sure DB.
Oh yeah.
Tackle.
We'll go receiver.
I definitely could see a receiver. I think this year more than last year, I could definitely see. I think number 3 is the position wide receiver, because these are premium players. I'm saying a Brandon Staley word. These are players that are hard to find. Those 3 positions. The one that maybe maybe one of the biggest things we're overlooking is defensive tackle. Interior guys, and maybe they're okay with Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson. It's again, he's better on upside for those 2 players. They're kind of a little unproven, but they have a lot of talent. But again, I go to a dilemma because Trent McDuffie, Stingley, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, those 3 are really good. Charles Cross, Penning, another 2 tackles. Those receivers, Olave, Wilson, Williams. I mean, all these guys, Wilson, they could all be gone before they get there. Like, what if you get to a point where, like, oh, Jordan Davis is nice. Wyatt from Georgia, also the teammate there. Like, I could see that too. So those 4 positions, like, again, Fernando, we're kind of saying everything because they're in a position where you could be so many possibilities. So, but if we had to rank the position, I think they want a offensive tackle, a DB. I don't know which one is higher between those 2, but I really feel like those are the 2 they really want. And then wide receiver, and then interior help. So I think those are the 4 positions.
I'm with you.
But not just thinking the whole kind of Charger centric. We've touched a lot of positions, but I don't know what's kind of what your main takeaway, because I know I don't really shouldn't care as much because I cover the Chargers, and Chargers have Justin Herbert, but I'm really fascinated to see where these quarterbacks go, because people keep saying this quarterback class sucks. Then now I'm seeing that they're all going to be top 10 picks. So I'm a little confused about that.
I was thinking the exact same thing, just because, like you said, like, I remember at the beginning of all this, I saw mock drafts where they had no quarterbacks taken, and in the first like 15 picks, and now all of a sudden all these teams are jumping up. Like, I think the Saints, I saw that's the reason why they've jumped up, is because they want a quarterback, and they may package the 15th and 18th pick and jump up even more on draft day. So I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm interested. I'm really interested to see kind of what happens with these draft picks, and what's going to happen with these quarterbacks, because I've seen a lot of it. Like, Malik Willis has really helped himself out, I think. I remember at the combine, that picture where he helped a homeless person out.
Oh yeah,
and then and then kind of his performance at the combine, I think that's really helped him out. I think he's quarterback 1, and then the rest of the guys are kind of trickling down. Carolina seems like a team that would really want a quarterback. I don't see Seattle drafting a quarterback. I really don't. Like, I feel like Pete Carroll really does like Drew Lock. I don't know why, but I mean, I've seen enough of Drew Lock, but I mean, maybe he thinks with those kinds of receivers, Drew Lock could maybe do something, but that offensive line is bad. So I don't know how much he could help, but yeah, the quarterbacks are going to be really I think the quarterbacks dictate everything of what happens in this draft. If they start going quarterback crazy at the top, then players are going to fall to the Chargers. One of their needs is going to fall right into their lap.
Yeah, if those guys are going, like I'm seeing the guy from Cincinnati out of nowhere, Ritter, like now being a top 10 pick, like so that might help out the Chargers.
Yeah.
I've seen guys, like Matt Corral keeps going up and down, the quarterback from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And then and I feel like one day people really like Kenny Pickett, and then the next day, oh, he's just an average quarterback. So I think it might be Malik Willis who might go. Like who knows? Like what if the Lions just say, hey, forget it. Let's go get Willis and bet on him at number 2. So. It's going to be a crazy draft, and then you have the whole Kyle Hamilton factor too, Fernando, to keep it Notre Dame centric. Like, I'm really just baffled about how high his stock was to start draft season to how like middle of the pack it is now.
No, and it's gonna be nuts. I mean, I hate saying it because I feel like I say it every draft, but I feel like this draft is gonna be just crazy. Like, there's so many different ways that so many different teams can go. I think Detroit is really gonna be the team that could
Surprises?
disrupt. Huh?
Surprises people?
Yeah, I think Detroit's going to be the team that surprises everybody, regardless of what they do. I think they're going to surprise everybody, just because I feel like some teams think, oh, maybe Jared Goff's not the guy. But hey, I'm excited. I kind of like draft season a little bit more than free agency, just because like the draft is crazy. There's so much madness, and you don't even know what way is up. So I'm interested to see what happens these next 2 weeks. Then obviously the night of the draft. So Gilbert, obviously there was some tragic news over the weekend. Former Washington football player and Pittsburgh Steeler Dwayne Haskins passed away at the age of 24. Obviously we don't need to get into the details of what happened, but it's just a sad I think he was 24 years old. Very sad moment for the NFL. Very sad moment for a lot of people, just because he's so young, and I think the night before he had posted a video with Najee Harris and how much fun he was having, and he was with him and his friends. And I don't know if you saw the video of Chase Claypool, but he really broke down crying, and it's like, wow, like it's so sad to see something like that happen. I don't know what your takeaway. I mean, obviously your takeaway is going to be the same as mine, but that kind of stuff. I mean, with such a young person at 24 years old, with his whole life ahead of him, for that to happen is tragic.
Yeah, when I saw the news, I was just thinking, man, this guy is so young, so much life to live. And, one of the first things I thought about, like every time you saw videos of Dwayne Haskins, he was a very outgoing guy, happy guy, full of life and energy. And that's why you saw people come out, even guys like an old timer veteran like Big Ben saying, hey, I really love his youth and his excitement he brought to the locker room. So, that was kind of tough to see, but it was a reminder like how sometimes people might go through their own stuff, but then they're also willing to, lift up your spirits and put a smile on your face, regardless of what they're going through. So that's what it seems like Dwayne Haskins is going to be remembered for. That video with Chase Claypool, that really got to me. I was like, man, like, first I'm like, how do you just, record this? But he was probably on his phone, and there's like, you just see the news and you're shocked. And then the emotion starts coming out. So it was very raw. Video of emotion, and some people wouldn't post that, and props to Claypool, because that's real life, and that's what people see. And I don't know if you want to get into it, Fernando, but when I saw the tweet, it bothered me when I saw Adam Schefter say Ohio State quarterback who struggled. I'm like, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's a tweet about football. He say he struggled, and then he died. I'm like, what was that? Like, it was a roller coaster of a tweet. It wasn't necessary. You don't need to bring up that he struggled. Dwayne Haskins is a big enough name to know what's happening in NFL life, but you say that for later. Like you put that in your story in your 10th paragraph. Oh, he struggled, blah blah blah. But at this point in time, like you're releasing the news, you're letting people know about a young man passing away, and maybe a lot of people in his family and his teammates and coaches didn't know about it, and they found out that way. So that was kind of rough to see. I was like, I don't know why is that in there. And I was kind of like thinking, like, if people are gonna notice that, and then it just started. Everybody seemed like they're
he was trending. He was trending all the rest of the day. Before I get into Adam Schefter, I really, it's incredible the way that like stuff like that happening kind of reminds us, like, hey, hug your loved ones, tell them that you love them, because I mean, you just never know. And it's crazy just to see the fact that, and it's sad because a lot of us get our news that way. I mean, you and I both have Ian and Adam and all these guys on our alerts on our phone. So sometimes the way we find out is the way that maybe family members are going to find out. And that, to think that is sad. And then on top of that, the way Adam tweeted it out, I know Ian was on Pat McAfee's show on Tuesday or Monday, and he was asked by Pat. He's like, dude, what kind of a robot does that? He's like, look, he's like, we all are different when it comes to tweeting out. Maybe he didn't think it through. He didn't think that, maybe he didn't think it was that bad. At the end of the day, it ends up being terrible, obviously. But Ian said that he waited for Pittsburgh to tweet something out and say, hey, so at Dwayne Haskins, a member of the Steelers Nation, has passed away, Dwayne Haskins. And he waited for him to tweet it out, or for them to tweet it out, and then he tweeted something out. I get, and I mean, it's obviously Ian's not going to go at Adam. Adam's not going to go at Ian. But I agree with you 100%. The fact that he sent that out was just, it was terrible. It's tasteless. Like, just the fact that like I just said, his family could have found out that way, and his family now finds out, oh hey, well, his life mattered, but at the same time, him sucking on the field mattered too. Like, that's the disappointing part. And Adam's really been stepping on his own toes as of late, ever since the whole Washington thing happened.
Yeah, Fernando, I haven't heard the Ian side of it, so that's kind of has me thinking, because, instead of treating it like breaking news, the only way I will feel comfortable reporting something like that if I got it from the family. Like, hey, the family just told me, so and so passed away. Here's her statement. Like, that's kind of the best way to approach that, something especially like this. But Adam made it seem like it was just a breaking news kind of story. And the other thing I was thinking too, like, sometimes this is why I kind of, I usually, when this is the kind of my rule, just stick to the facts, get straight to the point. You don't need these extra words for a tweet. Yeah, sometimes they look boring, but for sometimes, or not sometimes, usually it never fails you. So get to the point, get to the facts, and usually you avoid stuff like that. But like you were mentioning, there's so many other ways he could have approached it. So, and the bad thing about journalists, I mean, for journalists, we get a bad rap because, oh, look at that, they don't care about athletes, and not everybody's the same way. So that's kind of the other approach. I'm like, man, like, another bad look for reporters, because people think now that we're all robots,
Yeah. No, and I mean, we're not. I mean, we understand what's going on, and we obviously understand the severity of what happened. I mean, the kid was only 24, and he has a lot of family, a lot of friends that obviously are mourning him. And even us, like, even I kind of, the rest of the day was kind of bummed out a little bit, just because I'm like, damn, dude, like, it could literally happen to everybody. I remember I sent in my family group text, I'm like, hey, do you guys, love you guys, this and that and that, just because, like, you just never know. So definitely, and especially with me being on the other side of the country, I want to let people know. So I mean, it's just crazy, the fact that that all that happened. And obviously, like I told you, Adam has been kind of shaky as of late. So I don't know what's going on there, but ever since that whole Washington thing happened, it's been a little shaky for him. But hopefully he learns from it. T's and P's to Dwayne Haskins' family. I hope they're able to get through this tough time. Obviously, missing a family member is sad, but hopefully they're able to get through it, and it makes their family even stronger. But Gilbert, you lately you have not been sticking to football. You've been doing different things. You were obviously a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, you were an Angels reporter. Now you've switched over and you were boxing. So just tell us a little bit about going to cover boxing over the weekend.
Yeah, it was nice to cover a fight. I can't remember the last time I covered one, so it's been a good while to be at a fight in person, and it kind of feels like riding a bicycle. Like, I know what to do for covering a fight, so it's pretty cool. And I know people kind of sometimes knock boxing, like, oh, it's not a big fight, I don't care, but it was a low key card, and sometimes those low key cards when in a small venue are usually the best, because you're kind of right there, and then like, everybody who's there is in the center of the action. You could hear the punches. You could hear all the grunts. You could hear the bell loud and clear. You could hear the official saying, "All right, break it up." So it was cool. So
where was it at?
It was at the. Actually, I was gonna say it's near or right next to where the Chargers have their training camp in Costa Mesa. So it's at the OC Fair, or OC County Fair and Event Center, the hangar. So it was kind of interesting to be in Costa Mesa to cover something not related to the Chargers. So it was a small venue. but it was televised on ESPN. It was Top Rank. It was a women's boxing champion, unified champion, Michaela Mayer, from Woodland Hills. She was a local, so hey, let's give her some shine, some plug, and she's been doing great for the sport of women's boxing. So, for that fight, she got a cut over her eye. I'm like, well, I never really seen her like go through some adversity in the fight. So I'm like, okay, she's getting punished for a couple of rounds, and then after that cut, she kind of woke up, and it was cool to see her like it was her first fight in 4 years. So for her to come back, she became like the face of women's boxing. Got a couple belts. She's fighting on ESPN. So this is the first time her family gets to see her up close and in her hometown or home area. So after she went through some adversity and she rallied back, you see the family and the parents and the friends. Her boyfriend is remember Marquette King, the punter for the Raiders? He was there too. So they're all cheering for
really?
the kind of the rally. She took over after that.
That's her boyfriend?
Yeah, it's her boyfriend. So
wow.
So that was interesting.
He should still be in the league.
Yeah, so that's a different story. But he was there being cheerful and positive. So that was cool. But overall, it was a good boxing weekend. Fernando, you were watching the Ryan Garcia fight. There was a fight of the year contender, more for the low key casual fans or not casual fans, for the hardcore fans. I meant that casual fans won't know. But there was a fight on Showtime. Erickson Lubin and hopefully I'm not butchering the name, but Sebastian from Dura. He's like 6'5", fighting a guy who's 5'9". It was like an awkward fight. But if you watch it on YouTube, it was on Showtime. These guys were throwing haymakers. I was kind of watching while I was writing. A couple of knockdowns, and it was stopped in the 9th round because it was just too brutal. So you watch that fight on Showtime.
That was like when Canelo went up against that big Ukrainian guy. Remember, like he was like 6 foot, like he was a little bit taller than Canelo. It was maybe 2-3 years ago.
He was a Kovalev, but I think it was Russian.
Yeah, okay. He was a lot taller than Canelo.
Yeah, but this guy is really awkward. The height difference and the tall guy, like for being that lanky and tall, he's a good fighter. And the other big one was Triple G coming back, Gennady Golovkin beating Murata in Japan. And I'll go into that one for a little bit. I don't know if you watch it, Fernando, but Triple G looked a little slow.
Yeah.
But then the last thing that goes for fighters is the power, and he still had power, knocked them down.
Mouthpiece just went flying.
So now because he took care of business, Triple G at age 40, he might get a trilogy fight against Canelo. And I
thought that was already signed.
I don't know if it's for sure, but it seems like this. Well, also because Canelo has to beat his opponent Dimitri Bivol Cinco de Mayo. So
by the way,
that should be ready.
By the way, good friend of the show, Dante Lascano. I asked him, I'm like, oh, why do you think Triple G and Canelo are gonna fight? He's like, oh, because they're gonna go for the obvious knockout for Canelo, so Canelo can finally knock him out, and that's it. That's all she wrote. He's like, but the dude's 40 years old, and I'm like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, they're trying to set up Canelo so he can knock out basically everybody that he already did. And then I'm like, oh, what do you think about that? He's like Floyd Mayweather. You pick someone they're already old, and he takes care of business. I just start laughing because obviously Dante's been in the boxing game for a long time too. But yeah, it's just interesting.
He's not completely wrong, I think, Fernando. Like, why are you waiting 3 years to fight Triple G for a third time? But
exactly,
I don't know. People are still gonna watch it, but I think for sure it's a different level. Canelo has by far surpassed the Triple G level, and that's not Triple G's fault. He just got older, but he has power. But that when he had his prime power, he couldn't drop Canelo. So what makes you think is different now? So I don't know.
Yeah, no, and so I watched the Ryan Garcia fight, I guess you can call it. I was bored. Like it was just boring. Like I thought he would do a lot more with it. I thought at one point he was going to knock him out because he said, I'm going to knock him out in the 3rd or 4th round. In the 3rd round, he almost had him, but he kind of laid off a little bit. What was the beef with him and Canelo's manager?
The trainer, Eddie Reynoso.
Eddie Reynoso.
He was saying that he wasn't giving him enough time, like because Reynoso, he has a lot of clients now. He blew up.
Andy Ruiz, he has
Oscar Valdez, and a bunch of the guys. He's like, I didn't get enough attention, so he went to a different trainer, Goosen.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I don't know, Fernando. I know you didn't like it, and yeah, that's fair. It was a boring fight.
No, but he took care of business.
Yeah, but it takes two to tango, and the other guy wasn't throwing anything, and I was disappointed because that guy was talking trash the whole lead up to the fight. I'm like, oh, this guy might be one of these savvy veterans that just kind of like gets a little dirty in there and pushes you around. He didn't do anything.
I'll tell you one thing though. the announcers for DAZN, they were not. Anytime that dude would throw anything, they'd be like, "Oh, Garcia again with another hit." I'm like, Garcia. I'm like, the other guy's the one throwing them, but I'm like, whatever. I mean, you want to get the guy pumped up and everything. But Garcia is good. I just don't see like this whole King Garcia thing. Like I don't see it. Maybe I'll see it later. But by the way, I don't know if you saw, but TMZ caught up with Oscar De La Hoya, and they I guess Davis Gennady what's his name? Davis.
Talking about Gervonta Davis?
Gervonta Davis, that guy. I guess sorry. I was gonna say Gennady Golovkin. I guess he's a free agent, or he's saying he's a free agent.
Hopefully he has one more fight.
I guess Golden Boy's going after him. But he was with Mayweather, right?
Yeah, he was pretty much Mayweather's protege. Like it's funny because Golden Boy and Mayweather only have one star fighter, and it's Ryan Garcia for Golden Boy and then Gervonta Davis for Mayweather. So if Mayweather loses Gervonta, man, he's gonna be hurting.
Oof. Maybe that's why he's gonna fight on the helipad in Saudi Arabia and in May. I don't know why. I don't know why.
I'm done getting mad about it because it's different now. He's not a real fighter. He's just kind of more of a circus event entertainer, and that's cool. Make your money. I'm not gonna hate on that, but I don't need it. I don't need it in my life.
By the way, if you guys haven't, I mean, it was funny. I checked out over the weekend Logan Paul's podcast. He had Becky Lynch on, Sasha Banks.
I was gonna say, why did you watch that? But we're here now. I know why.
Oh yeah, no, but it was interesting to hear what Logan had to say about Triple H told him, dude, you've got skill, man. He's like, I don't know why you would even step foot in a boxing ring. Stay here. You can do some stuff with us, and you could really make some noise. Then I saw some rumors over the weekend that the WWE is going to be pushing forward with Logan, and that possibly we could see a Logan Paul versus Pat McAfee wrestling match. That would be like that would be crap talker against crap talk. Like that would be so much fun.
That'd be funny.
To lead up to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, supposedly Logan's gonna fight again at WrestleMania next year. They're hoping that at SummerSlam he'll wrestle as well. So that'll be interesting to watch. But that's the only reason why I watched it. I wanted to see what he had to say about Becky Lynch and about or what Becky had to say and what Sasha had to say. But he said he's like, I was just trying to come in and be like a normal baby face, and Triple H is like, no, dude, you're a heel. And he's like, why? I want to be normal. And they're like, but then they told him that after the Miz hit him, that now the Miz may have put him into a babyface position because some people may feel sorry for him. But I'm like, I don't think anybody's gonna feel sorry for Logan Paul after getting hit by the Miz. So I don't know. But another thing that I did watch real quick, Gilbert, is UFC 273. Sorry.
Right, okay.
I know. Sorry, 273.
Skip a few.
Gilbert Burns versus.
Good name, by the way.
Versus, I'm gonna butcher this name. Kamzat Shima. I ain't even gonna attempt it. That was a really good fight, Gilbert. They went all the way till the end to decision. I thought it was an incredible fight. Here, I'll share it for you so you can read it for our viewers because I'm terrible with names.
Kimave or something like that.
There it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Chimave. I'll just go with
Chimave. Okay, so
I wonder if Gilbert Burns actually a Gilberto, like me, just using the American name for fighting.
Oh, maybe. Who knows?
I think Gilberto's a popular name, and
that'd be a good story.
Huh?
That'd be a good story.
I think it's from Brazil. I think it's a notable name there. I remember I'm getting soccer talk, Fernando. When I was a kid, I used to watch the World Cup. It was Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, and some other guy named Gilberto. I remember that from the World Cup days of 2000.
You want that? All right.
No. Okay.
No. Okay.
I just want to talk about my name. Okay. Anyways, we gotta get to a big interview. So go ahead with them.
Okay. Real quick, Sterling, Jan, good fight as well. Jan said after the fight, he's like, Mr. Joe Rogan, I won the fight. Like everything was translated except for like the last part. He said, I won the fight. Like he did not beat me. He's like, I won the fight. And then Joe Rogan's like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I get it. This and that and that. No, but I won the fight. He's like, yeah, I get it. Like you think you won the no, I won the fight. So that was pretty funny. The main event was good. I liked it. It was obviously I'm gonna butcher that.
Volkanovski, I know that one.
Okay, there you go. That one and the Korean zombie. It was a good fight. I think he knocked him out at one point. So Alexander's pretty good. I think he's really good. But I mean, I'm not gonna get deep into the MMA talk because I'm not like you. But it was a good card. I mean, it was. Everybody said, "Oh, it's a boring card if you don't know UFC." I mean, I really
Casual.
I don't know it to the depth of it, but I watched it and I thought it was a really good overall. I thought it was a really good card. And they did a really good job with. I only watched those 3 fights because that's by the time Ryan Garcia was over playing pillow fights with that guy, I was able to jump over and watch that other fight. So all right, now Gilbert, it's time for our interview with E-Dub, Eric Weddle. Let's go to him now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited about our next guest. Now, bear with me. There's a lot of accolades here that I have to say.
Oh, no.
It's a promo thing that I have to do. But, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Weddle, 2-time All-Pro, first team All-Pro, 3-time second team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowl, NFL interceptions co-leader in 2011, and NFL 2010's All-Decade. Eric Weddle, how are you doing, Eric? Thank you so much for joining us.
Doing great. You forgot the last accolade, bro. The most important.
and hold on.
Come on.
Getting into that one. And Super Bowl 56 champion. How are you doing? First of all, when you hear Eric Weddle and Super Bowl champion in the same sentence, how does that feel?
It's pretty surreal. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard to fathom. I'm a champ now, and the way my career ended on a high note, right? I went out my way, did everything I could possibly to try to win it, and it didn't get done. And no qualms about it, right? There's no regrets. Did everything I could individually, and to have a second chance in life per se, and finish it off as a Super Bowl champ, and not just be a cheerleader in the background, but to be a vital piece and be one of the guys that was on the field every snap is pretty special, man. And it's hard to fathom, and I'm just super grateful and humbled by it all to be able to get a second chance and make the most of it.
Eric, I apologize in advance for Fernando for forgetting the best part of being a world champion.
Hey, I'm excited to have Eric on. That's my excitement kind of took over everything.
It's all right.
This is pretty
Fernando
cool.
and I go way back, so I'll let it slide this one time.
Okay. Well, quick question on the follow-up there for being a champion, Eric. How's life been since you've got in that ring? Is it different? You walking around with like a swag, or what's going on?
I mean, I permanently have swag, so that's not going to change much. I am who I am, and I live life to the fullest, and I love interaction. I love helping and serving and just being a good person, right? Like in today's world, it seems like being nice and considerate of others, whether you agree or disagree, is so hard to find. And I try to be that even more so in these crazy times. But I do get champ a lot, which is kind of, it's funny to hear, like, and people notice me a lot more. Like, I try to stay out of the limelight. Like I just want to be just like everybody else, right? I'm no better or bigger than any guy or girl out there, but I definitely get a lot more attention because of the 5-week espionage I went on, the hiatus from my old life, and ended with the Super Bowl championship. So it's been great. I've been rehabbing my pec. So outside of that, and just not being able to do everyday activities is the only drawback, really, of what I experienced a month ago.
You know what's funny, Gilbert and Eric? Eric was big on Twitter, and then he kind of disappeared, and Eric had gone very silent. So when that report came out, I don't know who had it first, but whenever that report came out, I had to check to make sure it was the real Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter, because I was like, really? Like, and I had to make sure it was the real one. But Eric, take us back to that. How did that all come into fruition? I mean, you're sitting, 2 years you were out of the NFL, and then all of a sudden that Jordan Fuller goes down, and then they bring you back. Just talk about that everything that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy. I was content and living the best life in retirement. Coaching my son's 12U football team, the Weddle taxi service in the afternoons and in the mornings, making breakfast, making lunch for the kids, dropping them off, and just the relief and just the stress of just not having anything revolved around me was just an eye opener. And I love the fact that I could do whatever I wanted to do. I didn't have to miss anything. I could be there for the kids. I could help out around the house, and I was just enjoying my second chapter. And did I ever think I would play again? No. Did I ever think? Did I want to play? No. I mean, my body has been through the rigors of the league for a long time, and I had no desire to play again. But when opportunities come a knocking, are you going to answer? And are you ready for those opportunities? And I work out every day to make my body feel better and to relieve some of the pains that I deal with every second of the day. And mentally, it puts me in a better position to deal with my kids, and I'm more patient and I'm more happy. So to say I was ready physically, I wasn't at all. And easily example of that is I ruptured my pec in the Super Bowl because my body wasn't ready and I wasn't training. But when something comes across a second chance in life, a chance of a lifetime, you got to take it. You got to take that leap of faith and see what happens. So I did that, not knowing it would end the way it ended, but just give it another crack at it and help the guys out that I played with 2 years prior and try to help them in the first round of the playoffs in Arizona. I had 5 days to get ready, and that was the only focus. And if we won, all right, let's do it all over again. And it just so happened we ended up winning it all.
Eric, with the pec injury, at what point did it happen in the Super Bowl, and how did you kind of manage to play with it?
Yeah, it happened. I think the 8th play of the game, and I was blocking. I was getting blocked, and I ripped off, and I had my arm out wide. And it wasn't so much being out wide, but when I got basically Mixon trucked me, and when I was on the ground, he either stepped on me or his knee or my teammate's knee ruptured my pec. It wasn't because I was out wide, like how you see most guys do it. They get out wide and it snaps off the bone. Mine was from an impact. And what was unique about it was an impact, and it ruptured in the middle of the tendon, like about an inch from the bone. So my surgery was very delicate, and because they couldn't reattach the bone and anchor it down, and usually, those are much easier to recover from. Mine, they just had to put the tendons back and then delicately sew them back together. So I am a high risk of re-tearing it, and that's why my rehab and recovery is probably 6 to 8 months of getting back to normal activities, just because of how it ruptured. So I honestly can't tell you how I kept playing. I just kept telling myself, you have no tomorrow. There is another game for you. There is no season. You're here for a reason. And if I wasn't calling the defense, like, that helped me. Like, as much pain as I was in every second and trying to make tackles, I literally would wait there on the ground for a second in pain, and then I'm like, you got to get up and call the play. You got to get up, back to the huddle, get the guys lined up, get the checks out. And really, that's what pushed me through every play, of just understanding that I had a job to do. And regardless of how much pain I was in, it was irrelevant in the moment. You have to block it out. You have to push those things aside for the moment and for your job. And my job was to get my guys the call, get them lined up, and make sure we were all on the same page to try to win this thing.
Eric, I mean, going back to your days in San Diego, I mean, like you loved it. You loved your teammates. You loved everything that was going on in San Diego. And I was there that day that you came up to the podium and you said, I will no longer be playing special teams. I will no longer be doing this. I will no longer be doing that, because you hadn't gotten that contract extension. But I mean, everybody knew how much you loved playing for the San Diego Chargers. Just can you walk us around that time and kind of what went through your mind?
Well, when I came to when I announced that at minicamp, I had not spoken to Tom or anyone within management about an extension because they wouldn't return my calls. They wouldn't talk to my agent. They blew them off from the Senior Bowl to the Combine to the owners meeting. So, and then a week before minicamp, Tom gets out there on the radio and puts out a bunch of lies about me, about I wanted this, I wanted that, I want to be the highest paid safety, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not going to just sit here and let you slander my name and make me out to be something that I'm not. So when I got up there, I basically put the facts out there and let the truth be told. And a lot of people thought I was lying. A lot of people, I mean, I can't tell you how many people just took me to the woodshed and just put my name into the ground. And I think over time, which I knew would happen, I think over time people finally realized like everything I said was true. I mean, I had no point to lie. I'm not in it for those things. I'm in it for what my name stands for and how I act and how I treat people. And when you don't treat people the right way, you treat them like crap. That's just not okay. It's not okay in my book. You shouldn't treat people like that, regardless of what position you're in. So I just felt like I had to stand up for myself, and it was tough, man. It was the hardest year of my life to play a game and to help out people within that organization, help people get jobs, help people elevate themselves within an organization, do everything right, and to have people basically blackball you from the organization was tough, man. It wasn't easy. I didn't want to play football after that season. So it was tough. It was tough and to have no one stand up for me, not a player, not a coach, not anyone to say that this is not right. You're treating Eric the wrong way. You can't do this. And amongst 100 other things, the way they did me dirty. So, but hey, things happen for a reason, right? And blessing in disguise, right? All that stuff, all that negativity. And I had a great run. Like people think when I talk about San Diego, it's just like pure hatred. It's not
No.
it's not that way at all. I have love for the city. I live here year round, right? I'm in the community. I love probably 95% of everyone within that organization, or have love for them. I wish they would have stood up for me, but I get it. Like, hey, a lot of people in this world are yes men. And I'm not. And if the roles were reversed, it would have been different. But it just comes down to a few people within that organization, and I just don't stand for that type of stuff. So hey, good things happen. Blessing in disguise. I go to Baltimore. I have a great run there. I get the love back for the game. And my last year in Baltimore, we end up practicing against LA for a 3-day stint. And if we don't practice against them, Sean never sees me at practice and see how I play, see how I communicate, see how great I am in my own way. Then I end up, Baltimore releases me. Then Sean and the Rams wanted me. They signed me. Boom. I play 1 year out there. They wanted to go a little younger, and I knew that. And I was fine. I was content. I was happy to retire. But seeing me that one season, seeing how I was a professional, how I worked, gave them this crazy idea to see if I could still play after 2 years. I mean, so all these things had to happen for me 15 years from when I was drafted by the Chargers to January, whatever, 5 days before the AFC wildcard game, calling me up out of the blue saying, hey, can you give us 15 plays Monday night? And the rest is history. So I'm grateful for the ups and downs. That's my crazy Cane Corso. But hey, I'm happy. I'm blessed. I'm a Super Bowl champ, and everything had to happen for a reason, and it did. And I'm grateful for all those, because now my inner circle is way closer, way tighter, and you learn who's with you and who's not, and you learn those values and characteristics that you want, that you believe in yourself, that you want to surround yourself with, and you want to instill in your kids, and I'm grateful for that.
Eric, one fight. Could the fences ever be mended or no?
Yeah, if new management and ownership gets over there. I mean, it's hard for me to just forgive and forget the way they treated me, and that's unfortunate. But hey, as some of the greatest qualities in me are some say may be the worst. I'm loyal to a fault. And when you cross me or you treat me like crap, it's hard for me to just say I'm okay with it. I'm sorry, but I hold myself to a high standard, and if I did that to someone else, I wouldn't want them. I wouldn't even think twice about them forgiving me if I treated someone like that. So I don't know. I wouldn't say never, but it's for sure as long as that management's there, there's no chance because it's just not happening.
Eric, like you mentioned, you use it as motivation, and things came out better for you at the end, and going to the Ravens, playing with the Rams for multiple stints, and it kind of gets me thinking because you went through different defenses. The Ravens have been good on defense for a very long time. You just played with Raheem Morris and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and those guys, and people are always asking what's kind of the latest evolution of defenses, and how can you keep up with the Patrick Mahomes and the Justin Herbert and the Matthew Staffords of the world. That last final stint, what kind of caught your your interest or your eye of like, this is how defenses are played nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, it's you're always trying to evolve. You're always trying to stay ahead of offenses nowadays, whether it's whether they're coming out with tempo, formations, different schemes, different route combinations. You're always trying to have an answer for everything that the offense does, or at least be prepared. And so I think that's a ever evolving mechanism for defenses. How are we going to continue to stay equal or ahead of offenses? And when it comes down to it, you just got to tackle well. You got to communicate. You got to play sound defense. And when you rush the passer and play sound on the back end, it's tough for any offense. I don't care who you are and what kind of weapons you have. And Aaron Donald can be the great equalizer in any defense, and then you couple that with Jalen, and then you couple that with a great defensive mind with Raheem, who can get the very best out of every individual and create a scheme. What was very cool about getting me back is Raheem and Sean had a great vision for how I could help the defense. Right, coming in first, Arizona. Play sub, just play 15, 20 snaps, get your body loose, try to acclimate back in the NFL, right? But they never put me in a position where I was playing the deep half or I was playing the middle post where I had to go sideline to sideline because physically I just couldn't do it. If you asked me to run all out 40 yards sideline to go make a play, I would tear everything in my legs. I mean, I think over 4 games and practicing for 5 weeks, I could count on my hand maybe 3 or 4 times where I went 100%. And of those 3-4 times, I probably strained or pulled my hamstring or groin. So I was playing about 80%, and I was playing with my mind and instincts and making sure everything was in front of me. I was playing, low holes. I was playing robber techniques. I was playing man-to-man, being able to pass things off. I was very rarely deep. And just having the foresight and the understanding of how they could use me and get the most out of me was just super impressive. And it really was comforting in a sense that they weren't going to put me in a position to make a fool of myself at the biggest stage, but also understanding that I can be an asset and I can help this team. And, look, I started the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl and called the defense. I mean, that's never going to be done again. 2 years on the couch.
Never going to be done again. I'll write that down right now. You know what? I forgot an accolade, Eric, and I apologize for this. He is also the head coach of the Rancho Bernardo Broncos. Eric, how long was that brewing? And how, I know you, like you said, we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
You're all about giving back. You want to help the next generation. How excited are you for this next journey? And how long has this been brewing for?
Yeah. So it was, I was the head coach of my son's 12U team this past year, and I just had a blast. And to be able to mold and teach these kids, 27 of my 35 kids had never played tackle football before. And we went 11-1 and won the local championship. And to see the boys at the start of the year to the end, I mean, they were bona fide Pop Warner kids now who could line up, could tackle, play a complex scheme. And I grew up wanting to teach and coach, right? I got my degree in special education, mild and moderate disabilities, so I could teach at the high school level and then be able to coach. Because back then you had to teach at the high school of where you wanted to coach. And thankfully the rules have changed, so it's not really the issue anymore. But so that was all.
Eric.
Yeah. So that was always something that I wanted to do. And honestly, over the course of, I've been playing football, for the majority of my 25 years of tackle football, from Pop Warner to high school to college and the NFL. And over the experience and the lessons I've learned, I think it's only fitting that I try to give back to these kids, these boys, and help them and teach them and inspire them to be the next Eric Weddle. May not be the next NFL player, but maybe they're the next community leader, right? Or someone, or a great father, a great husband, right? Like those are the values and qualities that I'm going to try to teach these boys, that it's bigger than the game. It's bigger than the NFL. It's about what you stand for. It's the values, the culture that you set. And I'm just super pumped and excited to the challenge at hand, to try to put a great product on the field, and even more so have leaders within the high school, within the community, and know that when you say RB high school football players, that your ears perk up and your eyes get excited and everything within you, because you know that these boys are going to be great people.
Eric, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Eric, I know the high schools are really far apart, but your good friend Philip Rivers is also a high school head coach. You guys going to play each other, or what's going to happen there?
I think we may have something in the future. He's got a year. He'll have 2 years up on me. So we'll see. We always talked about that when we were playing together, that one day we'll both be head coaches, and we'll have to find a way to let our boys play against each other. So his gunner he's a year older than Gage. I think we'll make something happen. Let me get the program on the ground for a couple years, and then we'll go try to battle their juggernaut, because I'm sure they're going to be in a year, next year, and so on. They're going to be the talk of the town out there in Alabama.
So can you give us some breaking news right now? Is Gage going to be a Bronco?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Nice. No doubt. He'll be there. He's going into 7th grade next year. So I'm going to coach his 14U team this year and help out with the high school. And then January of 23, I take over full time, and that'll give me a year before he gets there as a freshman. And then it's time to be great, man.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Eric, thank you so much for joining us. Very excited to have you on. And definitely looking forward to seeing what those Broncos are going to do. We're all going to keep our eyes on those Broncos. We want to see what they can do with the beard. So are you calling the plays, or is the beard going to call the plays?
Oh, geez. The beard is definitely going to have some influence, whether it's going for 2 or some 4th down calls. So I leave that with the high stress plays or calls. I'm going to channel the inner beard.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I am not surprised. That was a fantastic interview with legend Eric Weddle, the beard. I'm so jealous. Can't wait to see what's next for him. I'm sure he'll be winning multiple CIFs as a high school football coach. Weddle always wins. He stays winning. And speaking of winning, I'm hooked right now on the Lakers show. Winning Time on HBO Max. Fernando in that stage. Herberto have reviews on the Lakers show about Magic and Kareem days in the 80s. It's time for your favorite segment, Una Mas.
Gilbert, I don't know who was more pumped to have Eric on. Was it you and I, or was it Dan and Dago? Because you see him with that Eric Weddle jersey, and he's excited. He's excited to have Weddle on the show. But it was some really good stuff. And like I told you from the beginning, man, Eric gives it to you straight. There's no sugarcoating it. He's going to tell it to you the way it is.
Yeah, he really got into winning a Super Bowl, but he also got into what happened with the Chargers. So, yeah, there's always there's 2 stories to everything, but it was good to hear Eric Weddle's side, and he seems pretty torn or hurt about what happened there. So hopefully one day the organization and Weddle get together, because he is one of the greatest Chargers of all time.
And honestly, he deserves to have his not his jersey retired, but he deserves to have at least be in the Ring of Honor. Like that's how good Eric Weddle was. That's how good he was for so many years. Man, he would do it all for that defense. He was literally the Phillip Rivers of the defense. So it was so much fun to watch both Phillip and him compete every year. Like Eric would come up to the line, hear Phillip say something, and then he would say something. He's like, Eric, you don't know? He's like, yeah, I do. And then he'd jump back, and it was just a fun time to see two guys like that go at it. But all right, so Gilbert, right now, like you said, it's kind of the boring time for you, the kind of the downtime. You've been watching anything interesting, anything you've caught up on? Hey, the show that you got me addicted to, the Flight 828. When is that? When is that? Is that coming out?
You just answer your own question, friend. That comes to 828.
Oh, really?
August 28th. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
I don't know actually.
Before.
No, I think it was. It was. They had their teaser and they dropped the promo trailer on 828. I don't know if that's the actual. But eventually will drop it on 828. Why not?
They're gonna drop it before the season, and I'm gonna get addicted, and I'm not gonna do anything. Okay, that's
Manifest.
fine.
But
Manifest? There you go.
Yeah, and keep that in mind. You and your brother like to bury me for my what I watch on TV.
No. We bury you because of the way you describe characters and the way you talk about them. That's the only reason why we bury you.
Okay. But like I mentioned earlier, I did watch Boba Fett. I guess I won't get into it because you don't really care for new Star Wars. Shame on you. But
tell us, was it good?
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I think I'm on episode 6, or it's a few more to go. But I like it. It's a good storyline. It's different. There's some kind of weird parts where they're trying to like I mean, it's like you. They try to appeal to a younger audience, like Gen Z audience. I'm like, okay, that's a little too much for me. But the storylines are pretty cool, and they kind of try. It's kind of like the Marvel universe to try to get people together, so you see other people that you recognize. So
yeah,
I like that part, but we'll save it for another day.
I gotta ask you something though. And this is not even Dan and Dago. It's not me asking. Melissa, my sister, is wondering if you finished Harry Potter yet.
I have not. But you know, I did go to Universal Studios for my birthday, and I had the wand, and I was doing spells, and I was like scoliosis and all that stuff. So bronchitis. So yeah, so she'll enjoy that. But I was with the wand in front of the little things that they have all throughout Universal Studios. Okay. It wasn't that funny, Fernando. Let's go. I knew you would like that one, but
so you were giving people scoliosis?
I don't know. You got to do a spell. If you're a true fan like me, Fernando, you buy the wand. You get a bunch of spells on a paper at Universal Studios, and there's little marks everywhere at Harry Potter, Hogwarts Land, whatever it's called. And you stand in front of it, and then you do spells, and then things come out, like a frog comes out. Or
did you get a butterbeer?
No, because people tell me it's not real beer, and that's when they lost me. So
I gave it to Adam Hill when we were at the media thing. He's like, "What the hell is this crap?" He's like, "There's no alcohol in it," and I was like, "Yeah, but it's something from Harry Potter." He's like, "Screw this," and he threw it away or whatever.
I'm not gonna waste my time on a line like that.
Well, it was free that time.
Yeah, that's true. But no, I haven't. I guess I should. But by the way,
3 movies away.
By the way, the ride stinks. Universal Studios is by far the worst ride at Universal Studios. Harry Potter, I do not like it.
Which one?
The Harry Potter ride.
The one where you get on in the castle?
Yeah, and then you start doing whatever. But
okay.
Anyways, I'll get to it. I will. Melissa, I'm sorry. But hopefully I made you laugh the way I made your brother laugh.
Oh my god.
But this show is going long, Fernando. Okay, I don't like to go over an hour. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, Winning Time on HBO Max, the Lakers show.
Do you know why it's called Winning Time?
Because they win a lot. I don't know.
No, they can't call it Showtime because it's on HBO.
Oh, yeah. Good catch.
Remember how they call them the Showtime Lakers?
Yeah.
They can't call it Showtime because they're on HBO.
Yeah, the writer Jeff Pearlman, he called it Showtime, but yeah, it was cool because I read the book when it came out. Jeff Pearlman is a great writer.
I have that book too.
Yeah, I have also the other one, the 3 Ring Circus, the Kobe Shaq one. So it's kind of, I like those very detailed behind the scenes stories. So to see it kind of go onto the TV screen, I know it's over dramatized and it makes it interesting and all that, but So far, the book is kind of, and the book and the show, they're kind of on the same level there of the drama.
They're kind of on the same page.
Yeah, there you go, same page. Nice pun. But yes, it's a little over dramatic, but yeah, I do like the story for the most part. There's some stuff that's kind of like, oh, was this guy really like that, and so. But you don't know how people really are behind the scenes, and that's what the book was, and that's what the TV show is doing. I like it because it seems like it's true, and it's the '80s. It's crazy, and you got to see magic, or just even the coaches like Jack McKinnon, Paul Westhead, how Jerry West was after he became a player to a coach to a general manager. So I really recommend the show. I really like it, and also check out the book.
Yeah, no, definitely. I really like the show too. It like every Sunday I have to watch it before I go to bed. So I'm definitely into it. I think it's a really good show. I don't know. It's just so crazy to see kind of the way it's gone. And by the way, like with all the madness, and the Lakers are still madness now because they can't seem to figure out what to do with their future. I mean, I don't see Jeannie Buss selling the team, but they have to do something because ever since the Dr. Buss died, the team has not been the same. It's been crap after crap, and then obviously they won that lucky ring in the bubble and everything, and then after that, it's just been crap ever since too. And it's kind of like, well, dude, you're gonna be known as a team that kind of wasted LeBron's last like good years in a sense. I mean, LeBron this year was still putting up 40 or 50 point performances at times, but I just think Rob Pelinka, Kurt Rambis, and LeBron James, the general managers, suck. And I'm going to put it like that. I just think they suck. And two of the three should be fired. I think Kurt Rambis should not be in charge of anything. I think that Rob Pelinka should be fired, and they should bring in somebody. Their problem is that Jerry West a couple of years ago said, "Hey, can I come home?" They said no when he was with the Warriors after he came back from the Warriors, because he was one of the people that built that Warriors team. They said no, and he went to the Clippers, and look at what he's built with the Clippers. Man, this year they didn't even have two of their superstars, and the Clippers are an 8th or 7th or 6th seed. I can't remember. We should ask somebody, Chief, but they're a higher seed than the Lakers are. It's just embarrassing, but I mean, hey, but winning time, good. Winning time is a good time. It's a great show. So I'm definitely, I've loved that show. I think it's a really good show. It's just interesting to see kind of how, I feel like it makes the Lakers and Jerry West and some of those people's skin crawl just because they don't want, like, everybody knows Jerry West's the logo. Jeannie Buss is the smart daughter from Jerry Buss, who was his right-hand man, and her and Magic are brother and sister, and Magic is a sweet guy who always invested right in companies, but now you're kind of trying to see, and you're like, like.
Well, there was that episode with the Nike. I'm like, man, you blew that one,
dude. And what is that one guy's like? Oh, that guy's a loser. The bank investor. He's like, oh, that guy's a loser. He's not going to go anywhere.
I don't want to drop a lot of spoilers, but it kind of made me think, like, man, you really got to invest in people. You got to take a chance on people because you never know. You also people want to take advantage of you too. You got to be careful. But
yeah.
When you take a chance on somebody and they skyrocket, man, like it pays off. So it gets me thinking. But
are you guys listening out there to the Compas?
No,
invest in the Compas.
Yeah, we do need a sponsor.
I mean,
we can't have Dan and Dago be our only sponsor or promoter. He does a great job being our promoter.
No, he does. And honestly, I'm honestly, and I'm gonna be 100% truthful right now. He's like a Swiss Army knife for us. He does everything for us. He really does help us out a lot. So we're definitely thankful to have Dan and Dago. I know Gilbert's getting a little smirk because he knows that him and Dan have their battles, but literally,
no, he's doing some big things right now. Maybe we can. Well, before I get to that, because I want to end off the show on your brother, but before that, my final 2 cents on the Lakers stuff. I read the Bill Oram column on how the Lakers just botched the whole Frank Vogel thing, and they just pretty much, were terrible to him.
Yeah.
And the column at The Athletic was really summed it up for me because I haven't been following the Lakers too much. I'm like, that was a bad luck by the Lakers by the way they did Frank Vogel, a guy who won a championship. I know he called it the lucky ring, but he still won it.
No, he still won it
2 years ago.
Championship, yeah.
But I know we got to move on. But yeah, shout out to your brother. I don't know what he wants me to say, but he's doing a lot of big things. He can say whenever he wants, but he's a guy who's been kind of like tagging along with us, helping us out. But now he's gone his own little journey, his own little path, and it's pretty cool to see what he's up to. So shout out and congrats to you, Dan and Dago. See, I like you too.
Yeah, exactly. And really big things are happening for Dan and Dago. So he'll definitely, he said he's still part of the show. He's still going to be with us, but he's really doing a lot of big things. And I'm very excited about when he lets the fans know a little bit, or when he lets the listeners know a little bit more of what he's doing. But I'm definitely excited for everything that he's doing, and the way he helps us. I mean, at the Super Bowl and at the Combine, he was really all over trying to help us out. So definitely shout out to Dan and Dago. But Gilbert, another great show, another great show. Maybe we should, man, honestly, we're magicians right now. We're pulling up all these tricks. Maybe who knows what kind of tricks we have up our sleeve for next week. You never know if we're gonna stop by with the Compas.
Yeah, man. Like you got Eric Weddle on, so congrats to you and props to you. You get credit for that one. Maybe one day we'll finally get to my goal of getting under an hour for a show. Another long one, but because you got Eric Weddle on and he's a talker and he's very interesting, so it's okay.
All right. Well, thank you guys again so much for listening to us, for rocking with us. We're gonna have some fun stuff coming up. Gilbert and I have a lot of ideas that are starting to get put down on paper and hopefully signed, sealed, and delivered. Not a deal or anything, but just having more people on, more guests, having fun. So definitely excited about this. But Gilbert, for the time being, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
Ya nos vamos, pues. Vámonos.